Hey guys, I'm MeeMee and I do Allsorts, and today I do have another mystery box, and would you believe it? It's an art snacks box, and this one is actually a little bit smaller. I received an email a few weeks ago and there was Valentine's mystery box thing, and you got to choose between 3 boxes. I forgot what the other 2 were, but this one is an acrylic one, and it was the only one left, unfortunately. It was £10 and I snapped it up. And that's what we're going to have a look at today. Now, if you don't know, Art Snacks is an American company that does art subscription boxes. I'm not sponsored and not affiliated, and I've been dying to get into this for some time, so let's just jump straight into it. Right, and the mystery Valentine supplies are... okay. So we've got our instruction list, and we're not looking at that because I want to be surprised. What's Art Snacks without snacks? And in this limited edition box we have Smarties. Now, I live in England and Smarties are a lot different than this, so I'll be enjoying them later. Right, and now on to our supplies. And we get... ooh! Right, so first we've gone to Dough and Inktense water-soluble pencil. Now, I have used Dough and Inktense sticks, and I know how they work, but it's really interesting to see that they actually come in pencil form. So this one is a cherry, which looks a lot better on camera actually. Right, next we have a Dough and Graphing HB pencil, and up next we've got our acrylic paint by the company Golden, and ooh, slow drying. Oh, that'll be interesting. And this one is in the colour Cadmium Red Light. Up next we have a paintbrush by King Art, and it's a Finesse Premium number 6. Don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but there you go. This one, I have never owned a paintbrush like this before, and it's like a flat paintbrush with the rounded end. Of all of the paintbrushes that I own, I either have a flat brush or a rounded brush, but never one that's flat and rounded like this. So that is going to be really interesting to use, and this one is in a very odd shape because it's been cut into a really weird angle, but I do embrace impurities. So last but not least we have a Kurotaki pen. Ooh, I tell you what, this is such a really pretty pen, and it's dark blue, and it looks like there's glitter in the barrel and in the cap, and it's got beautiful gold rings and everywhere, and that's what the tip looks like. We can give all of these a swatchy in a minute. And then the piece de resistance is the Art Snacks sticker, which is in a really lovely muted teal colour with the bits of salmon pink. Ooh, tell you what, it's quite thick. I've never had a sticker like that before. So like with anything, I'm going to swatch out all of the supplies, get a feel to what I'm working with, and we'll take it from there. So first, from why not? We'll start with the pencil. Pencil is the pencil. I don't know why I'm swatching a pencil, but I just did. And next is the Kurotaki. Ooh, I like that. And this one's like a rubber nib to it, which I could actually really feel when I was dragging it across the paper. I don't know why, but I really do love rubber nibs, and found that they've got into a little bit more control. That is really nice. And you can get different thicknesses. Right, next up is the Inktense Pencil. Ooh, wow, that's got quite a bit of a chalky feel to it. And these are water activated, and when you put water on them, they do become more permanent. So we're going to give them a go with my new paintbrush. Ooh. Now that looks even nicer once it's activated. Now the problem with these is they go down like chalk, and they also dry like chalk, but they also become permanent when they dry. So once it's down, you've had it. And then last but not least is the Golden Open slow drying acrylic. That is a beautiful and bright red, quite decently thick as well, which is what I quite like. That really is a beautiful and bright red colour. Now I really do love the colour red. I don't know why it's coming up as orange on camera, and which is really stupid. There you go, you can see it's a little bit better. But take my word for it, it's like a beautiful cherry red. I thought it's a little bit better. It just suddenly got brighter outside, so I had to turn my light off there. So as you can see, I've got 2 different shades of red here, and I've got a black, so I am working with the very, very limited colour palette, and I have no idea how none of these are going to work together until these two dry. So I'm going to give them a bit of a chance to dry, and I will get back to you. Alright, so after doing a bit of experimenting on what I can do with the limited supply centre, I found out if I scribble some of this on a piece of plastic and put some red paint on top, I can get like a darker colour, which is fantastic. I've got variation there. And the first thing that I thought of was doing a red panda, of all things. So I've done a quick sketch, and after doing that and staring at it, and as I was sketching and sounds, I was thinking about how an angry little bugger it looks. Not only that, but the ease as well remind me of a koala. Unfortunately, I don't know that much about red pandas, you know, whether they're related to pandas, whether they're related to koalas. I don't know, don't care, they're a cute animal, and that's what I'm going to go with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just build up in layers and see where to go from there. As you can see, I'm leaving a lot of white spaces just so I've got like some variations. One thing that you don't want to do is covering the entire thing straight off. And I'm just going to zoom on dimension overall as well. As you can see as well, the way how I'm doing this, you know, the fur is not going in one direction. I am using a reference here, so it makes it into a whole lot easier. To make it more realistic, you need to follow the flow of the fur, and this is definitely going to take some time, but thankfully I've got like a small piece of paper. I'm not really one for doing fur and that. In fact, I actually really hate drawing animals. The fact that I hate doing fur texture. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm still having fun doing it. You know, I'm learning different techniques. You know, something as it says, and I'm like contradicting myself. I hate drawing animals, but I love drawing them at the same time. It's the same how I love drawing people, but I hate drawing them at the same time. I just can't win. I'm going to send this brush my life, and so useful for making fur textures. And the way I'm using acrylic paper, quite honestly, it's the perfect size for what I'm doing. By the way, I'm no expert in doing this. I'm just learning as I go, which for me is the best way. And there's the first layer of my angry little koala. Hopefully it should look less angry once I'm getting to like all of the little details. So it's new and before I carry on, I would just like to point out that I am wearing a makeshift plaster because I have dermatitis and I have poor blood circulation in my hands, and it's a bit chilly today, so I have to be extra cautious. So I do apologise for the unsightliness, but it's all good. So getting back to the picture, as you saw, I did some of the dark areas. I can keep saying I'm not a master in this. I hate doing fur. I don't know how to do it. And right now I'm going to sort of like step back a bit and try and put a bit more colour into it. And I tell you one though, paint I've had in here since yesterday and it was uncovered, and I just wetted my paintbrush and stuck it in, and it was actually still workable, which I am super stoked about. So I hate wasting paint. And this is quite a bit of a process, but you know what, it's actually quite enjoyable, especially when you go around the eye area, because I love doing eyes. The other thing that I like doing about furring as well is that you don't have to be precise, because all you have to do is like hint that there's hair there, and you know, it's exactly what it looks like. Try and get rid of like the demon eyes. Alright, try and get some dark areas in. I don't know how dark I want to go, but I want to go dark enough just to break up some of this. But I don't want to go in with the black pen and lose everything. I have to admit though, trying to make this red gold darker with the pen is really difficult, because you know I have to keep mixing things up every couple of swipes, and again you make do with what you've got, and that's the whole point of the challenge. Oh, well, that was like the longest phone call I've ever waited for. I normally don't do phone calls unless I really have to, like this year. And so what I'm deciding to do here is then I don't want to do too much to what I've already done, you know, in terms of doing midtones and highlights. So I'm going to go in with all of the darken up some areas, and you know, just try and make it all uniforms instead of, you know, making the right hash. I mean, I love what I've done so far, so I don't necessarily want to do too much to it. With these darker shadows, I will be going in with like a wash of black. I won't be going in with pure black, otherwise I really will destroy everything that I've done. I don't want to go in with the light wash of everything and then go in with the pure black. That is a no-no. I really don't know how to feel about this piece. It just looks like an angry koala dog. Trying to get the details in the eyes with the rounded flat brushes, they're not working. I'm going in straight with the pen. I'm not exactly getting the really dark shadows, and I'm looking for by just scribbling on a piece of plastic because it keeps coming out really washed out. But the thing, doing the washed out bits is actually really helpful because this black isn't like as in your face as I thought it would be. And you know what, it's actually really nice to work with on this paper. If I knew that I could actually go with a pen, I would have actually gotten a lot better detail on the ads, because now they look horrendous. Cute little demon koala is now a cute little demon. It needs to burn in hell. I'm going to try and darken up the eyes a little bit, just to try and offset the craziness about the eyes. So I think I'm going to stop and ring them, mainly because I don't want to ruin what I've already got, really messing it up. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go in with the highlights, and this was not part of the supplies that I got, but this really does need some highlights to it, so I'm going to try and put a bit of life into it and try and take away the craziness. And just like that, it doesn't look too bad. So I tend to mind bring right off this so you can actually see what I've done. I was really skeptical going into this because I had this ridiculously bright red paint and the ridiculously harsh black, and I'd say somewhere in between. But after I'd done some experimenting, like scribbling the black pen on my palette and even scrap pieces of plastic, and mixing the paint in with things gave me so much more to work with, and again that alone helped me decide what it was I wanted to do. And despite the fact that like I said, I'm not that good in drawing animals, and especially ones with fur, and once I started doing this and started to die inside, because even when I started doing things, it started off alright until I started getting further in and just wasn't looking very nice. It was going through the ugly stage, and then it just got worse and when I started putting in the dark shadows, and then as you saw, it became more of like a spawn of Satan rather than a red panda. But once I got the highlines in, that was it. It went from the spawn of Satan to looking like a red panda, and honestly I absolutely love it. I'm used to working with a little bit more, maybe an extra colour, an extra supply, but this one was by far the most limited I've ever had to work with. Normally I have 6 things to work with, but this time I only had 3, like seriously limiting my colour choices. And I had to really get creative. So not bad for a limited edition with limited supplies. Again, not exactly Valentine theme, and by the time this video comes out, we will be well into March. And also as well, I have to point out that all of these supplies actually really worked very well on this paper. And I have to admit that I actually really did love using the slow drying acrylic. I've never tried anything like this before, so I didn't know exactly what I was expecting from it. Like, was it going to act like oils and, you can reactivate it on paper, but then I thought acrylics are the ones that dry super fast. But it turned out that the slow drying acrylics was more for when you put it in the palette, it will stay activating for a longer period of time. Like I said earlier on in the video, and my paint's still wet, and that's what I actually really like about this, because the worst thing about paints is when they dry super fast in the palette. And yeah, after like a 24-hour period, and I hadn't even covered my palette, because this did actually take me a couple of days to do. The paint was still activating, sort of like after 3 days, even though then it was like really dry at that point, but I could still get some paint out from it. Pencil, I really did love using these. Like I said, I've used like the stick version of these when actually using it, and it goes on like any normal pencil, like watercolour pencils, but you're still getting like the graininess of it, and even when you apply water, and the strokes are still there. When activating, the colours are so beautiful. I mean, in this case, the graininess does actually help, and like down in this area I can see some of the graininess, but it adds to the texture, and I actually really do like. And honestly, I would actually get more of these, but these aren't like watercolour pencils, these are like ink based, so they will go down and they will be permanent. It is a little bit harder to try and mix them up, and like I said, you do get a very chalky texture from them, but I really do like these. And then the pen, I really did love working with it. It's really useful having a piece of plastic so I could scribble some ink out onto it and mix it up with the acrylics to get the darker shadows. And it worked really well actually going in with some of the darker strokes, like I did around the face. And again, I just love the feel of the rubber nib. So that was really awesome. I do have a couple of other pens like this, and honestly I really do love using them because you can get varying widths, and because it's got like rubber tip to it, it doesn't fray, and you can have light strokes, you can have thick strokes, you can have whatever strokes you want. I really don't know where else to go from this pen. This has got to be one of my best works of art so far, especially animal related. I've still got a long way to go on how to actually do them for texturing properly. I mean, especially in this area, but we live and learn. So I'm going to wrap this up before I prattle on any longer. So if you guys are interested in your own art box, and not necessarily in this one because it's limited edition and it's over with now, but I will leave a link in the description box below. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.